Hello again, it's Scott Johnson, author of Surviving When Modern Medicine Fails. And today I wanted to share with you some more essential oil education, specifically essential oil safety for children and infants. Now, this topic is really important. We have to understand that even though oils are natural and have a long history of usage, of safe usage, dating back thousands of years, and they are still continually used daily to help people of all ages, even down to infants. We need to be careful with them. And so I want to just talk about some of the ways that you can use them safely with your children and infants if that's what you choose to do. Now, I have 4 children. They're pictured there on the screen, and so you can see that I've been using essential oils for my children, and they love them, and I use them safely. And so let's talk a little bit about some of the importance. But before I get into that important topic, I just want to talk to you a little bit about some of the feedback that's been received on my book, Surviving When Modern Medicine Fails, which incidentally hit number 1 on Amazon in the aromatherapy segment. So you can see on the screen just a few of the things that people have said about this book and how much they've enjoyed it. And so I'm to the point where I have a big reveal for people who have been waiting. I've been hinting for a long time on my Facebook page now that I have another essential oil book coming forward, and it will actually include the information that we're sharing today and even more than that. And so the big reveal, what is the book? Well, it's a second edition of Surviving When Modern Medicine Fails, and I'm really pleased with the way this turned out. I'm so excited to share it with you. Here's what's the difference. Well, number 1 is it has expanded safety data, including known drug interactions and contraindication. There's an easy, useful table in there that you can look up the oils I recommend to see if there's any known interactions or contraindications. It also now has expanded the number of protocols. The original book I had about 227 protocols. This new one now has over 350 health conditions and the protocols to help use them if you were in a crisis where you were separated from any type of medical care. I've also got new information on topical dosage and oral dosage guidelines, including some new recommended dilution ratios. I've included profiles and the benefits of popular carrier oils so you can help decide which carrier oil you want to use. I have some essential oil chemistry basics, which has summaries of the common essential oil constituents that you'll find. And I have some clarification of the top issues and things that are mentioned, like liver toxicity reports and allergies or skin sensitivities to essential oils. So that book's coming out, and I'm really excited about it, so make sure you pick that up. So let's get back into the topic at hand for children. Now, I want to just emphasize these things that I'm going to mention are very rare. In fact, some experts estimate that these type of incidents that I'm going to talk about will occur in less than 2% of the population. But I do think that it warrants us being aware of them as oilers, because children's health has to take a top priority. We have to make sure that they're safe when we're using these potent remedies. And so while they are very, very rare, and you probably are unlikely to experience these things, I want to make sure you're aware of them so that you can know what the risks are. Well, here's the reason. You see underneath there, peppermint says it's up to 54% menthol. Eucalyptus globulus is up to 84% 1,8-cineol, which is also known as eucalyptol, and Eucalyptus radiata is up to 64% 1,8-cineol. Rosemary has both the eucalyptol and the camphor in it. And then we have wintergreen and sweet birch, which are very, very high in methyl salicylate, which is a compound similar to aspirin. So here's some of the information in the studies, what the science is telling us about these particular essential oils. You can see that we have instances of nasal eucalyptol and menthol instillation, in other words, inhalations of it. And that report shows that people can get a respiratory distress because of it. So, anything with eucalyptol, menthol can cause respiratory distress in very young children. There's another report there where it's talking about menthol causing respiratory distress in infants. Now we have up another one, unintentional exposure of young children to camphor and eucalyptus oils. Eucalyptus can overstimulate the central nervous system in very young children. And what happens when that happens? Well, you can go into convulsions or have seizures. You can see underlined there that they have reports of these two children who had seizures because of the inhalation of eucalyptus oils or camphor. And that occurs also on topical application. There's evidence in the scientific research that even applying it topically, small doses can cause seizures. So be very careful with that. And then lastly, you see methyl salicylate exposure in toddlers. Underlined is in children less than 6 years of age. A teaspoon, which is about 5 milliliters or less of oil of wintergreen, has been implicated in several well-documented deaths. The research shows us that 4 milliliters or less can cause death in young children. And so it's something we really got to be careful of and be aware of. Now here's part of what's coming out in my new book, some topical dosage guidelines. Okay, the recommended dilution ratios. Children will respond better than adults will, especially infants. And so when you apply an essential oil to their bodies, they do not need as much as we do. They're smaller. The will get into the blood more quickly and get around and circulate and take care of what needs to be taken care of. They'll receive the benefits more quickly than an adult will. This is the same thing that you would do with any kind of remedy. You would typically give a smaller dosage to children than you would adults. And so these are just some recommended guidelines. They're not definitive. They're just for you to use and determine where you want to be at so that you can be safe as you apply essential oils to your children. So now, I just told you what you can't do, but I want to focus now on what you can use. What can you use instead of those that I mentioned? Well, if you have a child under the age of 5 or 5 or under that has an elevated temperature, then one of my favorite ways to manage that and to help them keep a normal temperature is to put lemon oil on the spine. So you dilute that and put some lemon oil down the spine, and you can do frequent applications of that, and that works very well to help that child maintain a normal temperature. So we can use that in the place of peppermint, which might cause, in those very rare cases and in sensitive individuals, some issues. Okay, we have kids get stomach aches all the time. That's something we're going to run into as parents. What do we do about it? Well, peppermint's been a time-honored remedy for indigestion and for stomach concerns for decades, even centuries. And so what do we do to replace that? Well, there's good alternatives in ginger or lemon, and these can be applied topically on their stomach and get good results. And so those are a couple of things that you could use in place of peppermint when you run into those stomach aches. Another thing, when you're looking to support the immune system, now there's great blends out there that will help support your child's immune system and help them stay well. And so many of these will carry inside them a rosemary or other things that you don't want to be using, like eucalyptus. So in place of those, you can use a combination of, or any of these: lemon, frankincense, cinnamon, clove, melaleuca, thyme, and oregano. Now I have on the screen something that I recommend to you. You can take these particular oils, and there's the amount of drops, and mix them up in your own little essential oil bottle and mix that up together so that you have an immune supporting blend for your younger children when you need it. And then when they need it, you just dilute that appropriately and apply it to the bottoms of their feet. The feet are a great place because even these hotter oils like a cinnamon or clove, oregano, thyme, the feet are very tough. They'll be able to handle that kind of what we call a hot oil on the bottoms of the feet. Another thing, if you're experiencing congestion, your child has congestion, well, many people have found that peppermint works really well, or so does eucalyptus in this instance. But we want to try and keep those away, because as it was reported, even an inhalation, so if you're diffusing around these children, they can experience that respiratory distress. We don't want to risk that with the children. Well, what are some good alternatives? Well, cedarwood, pine, and myrtle. Pine and myrtle are very good respiratory supporting oils, and so you can diffuse this around them. You can apply these on their chest and back. I like to put a warm towel over the top of it so that can help drive it into the lungs and into the body very rapidly, and get the benefits that you need for that. So that's a great way to help with that. Now, how about a cough? Well, you're going to be very similar to what we just talked about when you have congestion. Cedarwood, pine, and myrtle are great options to use in place of eucalyptus. So we would just apply those again in the same places, the back, upper back, chest, and then drive that in with a warm washcloth or towel on top of it. How about when we have these babies with teething? Many mothers have found that, putting peppermint is okay, but if we want to avoid the risk of the peppermint, and just be extra cautious in case we do have one of those children that falls into the 2% category, then applying frankincense or copaiba can be very beneficial for them. And so dilute that and just rub it across their gums, and that's a great way to help them out and to soothe them when they have that teething going on. If you're just looking at something for general aches and discomfort, again, peppermint's really good for that because of the menthol content in it. It's very cooling and can soothe people. But here's some other great options that are not going to have the same kind of concerns as peppermint does. We have frankincense, we have balsam fir, copaiba. We can apply that topically to whatever area is being affected, whatever area has some ache or discomfort to it, and get great results. And so I'm just trying to show you that even though we just said, be very careful with these in case you have one of the children that are that 2%, you know what? Here are all the replacement options. We're not just going to tell you don't use these things and not give you some alternatives. Here's the alternatives to help your children out. So I hope that you've enjoyed learning about this. Let us put your mind at ease about some of the concerns that have been expressed about these guidelines and in not using certain oils for very young children. Hopefully you understand what the risks are now, and that it is a very, very small risk and rare, but we do want to be aware of it. No parent wants to see their child have a seizure or go into respiratory distress. And so here's the alternatives. I'd love to connect with you, so find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and love learning from my fans and also from those who follow me. We can share with each other and learn from how each of us uses essential oils for our families. So until next time, I wish you a great day.